So this brings me to one of the biggest challenges that we find in captive parrots is having the bird out of the cage out of guilt. We have birds in the wild, they'd be flying around all day, expending physical energy. They're expending mental energy while foraging in the hopes of finding food with no guarantee. But what do we do as humans? We want to make their life super easy. So we take them out of the cage. We let them have free roam of our cage that's full of stuff they can't get into, right? And then why do I say our cage? It's just a big cage, but now they can take claim of certain parts of the house. They'll get territorial, especially if they're not sleeping enough and they become hormonal. Now that whole house is their cage. And even though you're doing it out of like, oh, I don't want you to be in a cage, you just made their cage full of temptation that will get them in trouble, and you accidentally reinforce getting more of the bad behavior. You're accidentally punishing, which is going to confuse the heck out of your bird. And so now we're at the foundation for the two of you of why a lot of these unwanted behaviors are happening, and so we can dive into solutions based on that.
Meet Mona. She is an African gray. We're going to refer to her as a girl, even though we don't have that confirmed. She's somewhere around 20 years old. Obviously, the background is quite unknown. What we do know is she's on a diet of Harrison's, pellets, fruits, veggies, and she's a very picky eater. So she has access to her pellet diet 24/7, which seems to be sabotaging her eating any other sort of healthy food in her diet. So as much as her human tries to get her to eat vegetables, Mona just tosses them right out. Now, Mona is this human's first bird, and she's had her for a little over a year. Mona has a messed up wing, a messed up foot. She has a clogged nair that happens. There's just a lot going on with Mona. Also, Mona's sleep isn't quite ideal. It can be anywhere from 6 to 8 hours if she's sleeping in her human's room, or 8 to 10 hours when she's sort of on her own. Now, the goals today are just to get to know Mona better. Her human just wants her to be able to go into different areas and be transported around better. She's making this makeshift basket that Mona will ideally be able to ride in when she goes bicycling. So she has a lot of modifications and changes and talks that she wants to make for making this a possibility, since she likes to really bicycle and she wants Mona to be with her. One of the habits that Mona has at home is she's out almost all day since her human works from home until she climbs down and chews on the house. So her human kind of misdirects this by giving Mona boxes to chew on, which if you follow us for any amount of time, you'll know that's a major hormonal trigger, and we do not advocate giving your bird boxes. Our foundations aren't quite set up to be successful, but we're gonna see what we're working with.
All I want is to step up, and then you can give her a treat.
Okay. Mona. Hi. So peanut. Step up we go. Good girl. Oh.
And go and put her back down. And you can give her the treat on the perch, that's fine too.
One on the perch? No. Not peanut. Not brown.
Every bird that's on Harrison is doing this.
Yep.
Trick training is paying your bird in $100 bills, right? If you don't have to show up to work and you're still getting $100 bills, why would you go to work? And that's, your bird's on strike right now.
Okay.
And there's a lot of little things that didn't set you up for success, the Harrison's being the majority of it. And I knew that we talk about treats later. Fruit is a huge reason that we're getting some of this. Mm-hmm. Also could be there's a tiny bit of feather destructive behavior. Yes. It's just really shouldn't be in the diet.
All right.
We think of fruits and vegetables as healthy, but the way fruits...
Vegetables.
Yeah, vegetables.
Okay.
Also,
okay.
I want you to think of, when we're motivating birds, it's not about the hunger, it's about the value of the treat. How do we make the value of the treat higher without making them hungrier? Mm-hmm. Well, that has to do with the foundation of the diet. So if she's on just seasonal feeding, for example, then she's not getting peanuts that are shelled, she's not getting sunflower seeds that are pressed into Harrison's, she's not getting any of that stuff. So now, rewinding, she's on Harrison, so there's sunflower seed in her diet. So if you want her to do something that's a little outside of her comfort zone, you're like, come on, I'll give you sunflower seeds. She just has been getting it for free, so why show up for work?
Right.
But if that's no longer in the diet, that sunflower seed's gonna have a much higher value, and we're not actually making her hungry.
And I actually think it's corn and Harrison's that's really filling, but it doesn't have a lot of nutritional value, so it just makes you feel full, but nutritionally speaking.
Does that have sunflower seeds in it?
Yeah, but it's the corn that's like...
Oh.
really
It's
higher
like
on the list.
the number one ingredient is corn.
It's just a filler, cheap ingredient that
Okay.
you can put into a pellet and be like, "Yay,
Yeah.
profit margins are great."
All right.
Birds feel full.
And
So
it's,
are we going to be trickless today, Mona? Is that what's going on?
She's like, "I'm just chilling."
she's like,
enjoying
yeah,
my
this tea
tea
stand's
stand."
cool.
Let's ask her to target, and then you can hold this up to her and see if she picks something out, and we'll just try to keep track of what she picks up. Do you want to ask her to target, or you want her to?
Let me do the first rep, and you give the treats.
Okay.
Give her a treat. So you'll notice I clicked before she touched it. There you could see hesitancy, and then she looked at it, she was right in line with it, and she paused. I'm like, I'll take that. Because what I risked is that the vibration of the clicker through the stick could have scared her, and then we're not going to get it. So by her getting close and looking at it, I'll start there. We'll click and we'll capture that and give a treat. We're not getting the treats right now, so there's that.
So unfortunately, Mona is just not interested in any of the treats we've had here today to offer her. We've offered her a variety of seeds and nuts, walnuts, almonds, cashews, sunflower seeds, safflower seeds, all the things. And she's just not interested in food. And because we don't have any way to reinforce her behavior, we don't really find it fair to continue to ask her to target train for nothing.
I mean,
This
it's
is
good
really
she's
good
not,
behavior for her,
she's
right?
not scared of the stick, so there's that.
That was amazing.
This is why it's so important to take the time and get your bird's foundations in place before coming to a masterclass. You're going to make the most out of your time and money if your bird is set up to be successful. And what I mean by that is really looking at your bird's sleep and diet, making sure that your bird is getting adequate, uninterrupted sleep, and also on the ideal diet so that your bird cares about food rewards, because that's the only way that we can communicate with birds very clearly is by using food rewards. If we can use another form of reinforcement, such as petting if the bird will allow it, which we've done in a masterclass before, or attention, or a favorite toy, we'll definitely utilize it. But for the most part, the most reliable thing that we can use is little pieces of treats to communicate clearly to our birds. And over time, we don't have to use treats forever, but they sure do make a huge impact in being able to train behaviors very clearly.
All right, so now I'm going to try to, you notice I'm getting a little bit of head movement. I'm going to try to get a little more head movement. There's too much head movement, so we'll try it. So I'm definitely getting what we refer to as a few feathers.
I know.
When there's a few feathers on the back of the head and neck, it's signaling the feathered finger. So we are probably pushed this as far as I could without using treats. And she seems a little, like she put up with me a couple times, and then she's like, dude, this is not comfortable. I don't like this. Yeah, I'm out of tools to work with, but you can see how.
Now you know how I feel.
Yeah, but the good news is, there's so many things that we can correct that are pretty quick and easy fixes.
Yeah.
That as the diet's right, that might be a challenge. But if you do dial in the diet, then you're going to see the value of the treat just skyrocket. And then you've now seen how we can work through that to make that work. Sleep's going to be big too. Her disposition's great. I would love to work with this bird in a week. And don't expect a lot in a week. Just focus on the diet transition.
If you're someone who's struggling getting your foundations in place and everything you've tried, you've just hit a brick wall on, please consider either getting my diet conversion course or setting up a personal online consultation. Sometimes it just takes having that accountability partner and someone to give you homework that you can actually digest and do each week, and then follow up with you to see what worked, what didn't, and then change the plan as needed based on your bird's response to those. Keep in mind that diet conversion may not be a one-size-fits-all. Everybody gets there in quite a different way, and some birds may do it really quickly, other birds may take months or even years. But I promise it'll be worth it to have your bird's health be that top priority, and then have the ability to use treats to communicate so much more effectively.